If New Year's resolutions make you feel inspired one day and like a failure by day 10 or day 2, it's not because you lack willpower. It's because your brain changes through micro moments, not grand declarations. So, in today's episode, I'm going to give you three tiny science backed resets you can use this new year, or on a random Tuesday in March or a Wednesday in October. Basically, on any day you feel like a reset. I'll also give you a menu of micro moments you can use for the most common January traps: overthinking, doom scrolling, self doubt, catastrophizing, comparison, over planning, worry, and that old nugget, procrastination. Hello, and welcome to Superbrain, the podcast for everyone with a brain. I'm Sabina Brennan, and my mission with Superbrain is to make neuroscience practical, useful, and understandable. Today's episode is for anyone setting intentions this time of year, or anyone who simply wants to feel more steady, more focused, and more like themselves any time of the year. Instead of new year, new me, I want you to think about new moment, new choice. So, a little bit of context. New Year's Day is psychologically powerful. It feels like a fresh page, a new start. But for a lot of people, it also brings a particular kind of stress. The urge to reinvent yourself, the fear that you'll do wrong or that you'll fail, the familiar pattern of going all in and then completely burning out. And this is where many resolutions fail. They ask your nervous system to leap from this is familiar to this is perfect overnight. If you've ever started brilliantly, then suddenly found yourself avoiding whatever it is you resolved to do, procrastinating, overthinking, doom scrolling, comparing yourself to everyone else, and quietly deciding that you've failed, I want you to hear this. This isn't a character flaw, it's just your brain doing its job. So, what's the science behind all this? Well, I've said this a few times before. Your brain is a prediction machine. It's always scanning for what's safe and what isn't, because its primary function is to keep you safe. And predicting what happens next helps it do that. A big resolution can feel thrilling because it promises control, clarity, and a fresh identity. And the new experiences, the novelty that come with implementing resolutions is also appealing to your neural prediction machine because new data improves predictions. Your brain needs change, but it also is aversive to change because it's easier to predict the status quo, easier for your brain to carry out its primary role, which is to keep you safe. As soon as the change involves discomfort, effort, uncertainty, not being instantly good at it, your threat system can activate, your fear system, your amygdala, your stress response. So when that happens, your brain looks for relief, and relief can look like avoidance, scrolling, over planning instead of doing, staying in your head instead of taking one small action, one small step towards your goal, being realistic in a way that's actually really fear. So the goal isn't to force yourself with more pressure. The goal is to teach your nervous system in small, repeatable doses. This is safe. This is enough. I can do the next step. I can begin. And that's what micro moments do. They create tiny experiences of safety and agency, which is how the brain rewires. So, tools in three. Okay, tool one. Let's start with the one that works fastest when your brain is spiraling. Overthinking is often your brain running endless what if simulations, not because you're broken, but because your brain is trying to keep you safe. So here's the micro moment. Look around and name three things that you can see, three things you can hear, and three things you can feel against your skin. That's it. Why it works? Well, it gives your brain a job in the present moment. It pulls attention out of rumination and into sensory reality. And then, this is the crucial second step. Do one thing you can influence in the next 10 minutes. Not fix my whole life, just one action that proves agency, that shows you that you're in control and you can take a step towards change. For example, I can't solve all my work issues today, but I can clear my desk and write one short email. Set a timer for 10 minutes, single task only, just do one thing. Keep your attention on the feel of your hands, your breath, and the next tiny step that you're going to take. When the timer goes off, say, I didn't solve everything, but I did choose and complete one thing. That sentence matters. It rewires identity. I'm someone who can act. Tool 2, the 2-minute toe dip. Okay, we got to talk about the great New Year's trap, procrastination. I've done a whole episode on this, but I think it's relevant and worth repeating within this episode. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's often emotional regulation. A task feels uncomfortable, unclear, or a bit overwhelming, and your stress response, your threat system activates. Your brain offers relief. Do it later. The relief is rewarding, and so the loop strengthens. Don't try to fight procrastination with shame. Try to fight it with just a little toe dip. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Your only job is the first step. That's it. Open the document. Write the first line. Open that bill you've been scared of. Clear one corner of the table. When the timer ends, you have full permission to stop. But the aim is not finishing. It's proving to your nervous system, I can survive the discomfort of starting something new. Often you'll continue, sometimes you won't. Either way, you've cracked that frozen state, and that often gets forgotten about. People talk about, that stress response being fight or flight, but it's also it's actually three possibilities: fight, flight, or freeze. And often with chronic stress, what we're experiencing is that ongoing freeze, that ongoing being stuck in a moment. So, yeah, that's important, just taking that first step. If your New Year's resolution is get fitter or write the book or sort my finances, your brain doesn't need a motivational speech or a grand purpose. Although that's important to have your goal, but what it needs is a safe on-ramp. 2 minutes is an on-ramp. And then it's about focusing on one step at a time that will ultimately take you towards your goal. Tool 3, the threat to choice switch. And this is really good for doom scrolling and for catastrophizing. So doom scrolling, it often feels like staying informed, but your brain is frequently doing something else. It's actually checking for threat. So what you need to do is interrupt it with a cue-based micro moment. Choose one daily cue. Kettle boiling, waiting for the kettle, getting into bed, sitting on the loo, waking up. When the cue happens, name it. I'm checking for threat. Flip the action for 2 minutes. Put the phone screen down and do something physical and neutral. Stretch. Oh, stretch is brilliant. Step outside, drink water. Actually, I used the drink water thing years ago, and I'm totally digressing, but that's me, that's who I am. But I used the drink water thing, and I also used a brushing teeth thing when I quit smoking. And I'm very careful to say, not to say when I gave up smoking, I'm saying when I quit smoking, when I did it successfully and never went back again. Slow breaths are really good. So small exit, repeat often, and that will help to rewire that loop. So pick your moment when you're inclined to doom scroll and then flip the action for just 2 minutes. Catastrophizing. Oh, if your thoughts tend to race to the worst outcome, you can do this three lens reset. Worst case, most realistic case, best case. They're all options. Let your brain write the worst, then pull it back to evidence for realistic. Then widen the lens with a bit of optimism and look for one best case scenario. You're not forcing positivity, you're restoring range and moving away from the worst case scenario. Your brain calms when it remembers there is more than one possible future. Now, I said I would give you a little menu of New Year micro moments. If you're listening to this, I'm recording this on New Year's Day, but as I said, it'll work for any time of the year. Turn it into a one kind first person sentence. You don't have to fully believe it. You're just giving your brain a new script to practice. I'm not useless. I'm just learning, so I'm bound to make mistakes. Kindness, compassion for yourself. Same compassion you would offer to others. If you're afraid to start something new, just make the first step something ridiculously simple. Open the website, read about one module on that course you're thinking about taking. Write one messy sentence for that novel you want to start, or the dissertation that you have promised yourself you will get done this month in January. You're teaching your brain that new does not always equal danger, and it equals a safe experiment. Just, something tiny, but it's new and you did it. If you find that you're comparing yourself to everyone else, step out of comparison and into connection. Send a 30-second message of appreciation to someone, one specific thing you value about them. Then pause and notice you've shifted from how do I measure up to how do I show up? If you have overplanned the joy out of life, choose one low stakes point in your day to be deliberately unscripted. A 15-minute spontaneous detour. Ask, what would feel good enough right now? And follow the first gentle answer. If worry is a constant companion, if it's eating away at your brain's resources, at your mental bandwidth, give it a container. Create a worry window in your day, a 10-minute window. At the same time, a 10-minute window at the same time each day. Outside that window, if a worry comes into your head, you jot the worry down and you tell your brain, I'll meet you at 3 p.m. That's my worry window. Your brain relaxes when it knows there's a time to spin its stories, to do that worrying, to address that issue. And the rest of the day is for living. So if you're listening around New Year, think about this one as a New Year's resolution. Less pressure, more practice. If you found this episode useful, do share it with someone else whose brain might benefit. And please follow Superbrain to automatically get next week's episode into your inbox. Thank you so much for listening, and the very best wishes for 2026.